from WrestleMania till now,
awesome height of exposure for Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
And his awesome moment. And that awesome documentary they put out on the WWE
Network.
Network.
Yeah, if you haven't checked it out, check out Road to WrestleMania Daniel Bryan on the WWE Network.
Fantastic work.
Like, it's just over an hour long, but
it's worth every minute of it.
It really documents how much importance WWE feels about Daniel Bryan now. They realize that he is important to their product, and there's no bias. They establish where he came from. They do so much good for Daniel Bryan.
Absolutely. And it's that untimely bit where Daniel Bryan gives so much of himself in all the matches that he's in to find out that Daniel Bryan gets himself injured and needs to have neck surgery.
Yeah. Height of his career, everything since has really, even the Extreme Rules match against Kane, everything since was really felt like a decline and felt like an afterthought. Like, he wrestled Kane, not because Kane was the guy that he should wrestle next, because every other star was busy.
Yeah, when they announced that he was going to go against Kane, like, part of me wanted it to make sense, but it didn't.
Yeah.
Why?
It should have, and what screws it over is corporate Kane. But it should have because they have history as Team Hell now. That it could have been a really personal feud for the belt. The point is that it wasn't a deep personal rivalry. It was a afterthought rivalry. It was Cena's doing this, Bray's doing this, Shield and Evolution are over here.
You had all the top heels busy. You couldn't do anything with any of the other heels that would make sense in the title picture.
Right. Also, I don't have an alternative. It's another case where, like, Shield vs. Evolution worked. It was perfect. Wyatt Cena, that was already in the works.
You would have had to build up somebody new. Like,
right,
you would have had to build up a brand new feud, brand new storyline, and there probably wasn't enough time for that.
Here's the thing: as far as like other people that could contend for the title in the current crop of superstars, the only other person that would have made any sort of sense would be Alberto Del Rio.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Your choices were Kane, who has a history with Daniel Bryan, or Del Rio, who has nothing to do with Daniel Bryan, who didn't even do anything worthwhile at Mania, who hasn't done anything worthwhile in a long time. Granted, he is in the Money in the Bank ladder match.
Do something cool, Del Rio. We want to believe in you.
Yeah, I like Del Rio, but it wouldn't have made sense to put him against Daniel Bryan. But yeah, like you said, Thomas, But Daniel Bryan has, like, it's almost like he was like at the top of the mountain at WrestleMania, and then the other side of the mountain turned into a fucking cliff.
Yeah, and
because he got so screwed.
Oh yeah, but it went from that to the unfortunate neck surgery that he had to have.
Well, not only that, but Daniel Bryan's been dealing with stuff since Mania.
Yeah.
The night after Mania was a great moment because he defended the title against Triple H. The Shield came out, helped him, and he had that. But
almost the second WrestleMania.
That week was a great week because he had Mania. Then Monday he had an awesome showing and teamed with the Shield. That Friday he got married to Brie Bella.
That Saturday he had the night after being married to Brie Bella.
And for the rest of his life, he's married.
He's got the night after being married to Brie Bella.
But then, unfortunately, not that following Monday, but the Monday 2 weeks from WrestleMania, his dad passed away, and so that's kind of where they got the idea of, okay, we could put Kane in there because we can have Kane attack Daniel Bryan because Daniel had a funeral he had to go to.
Yeah.
So that's where they kind of built the Kane, Kane could go for the title because he's gonna attack Daniel Bryan, and so he loses his dad, the next week, he's got to show up on Raw, whether he's hurt. That was the storyline. Did the match against Kane, and then like a week or two later, he finds out he's gonna have neck surgery.
He actually is hurt.
So he's legitimately hurt, and so it's almost like Daniel Bryan had that one great week, and then everything fucking fell apart for him. And it's sad to see it.
Poor D-Bryan.
Yeah, and
Hashtag I'm sorry.
We hope to see him back really soon because we've been wanting him to be champion.
WWE needs you right now.
Oh yeah.
The one thing I will say is obviously I don't want to say, oh, it's great that he's hurt, but it kind of works for the storyline.
It does.
Because the Authority's been trying every way they possibly can to keep the title off of Daniel Bryan. So now they're putting the blame on him, saying that he tries too hard, he's been doing all this stuff, he's been pushing himself, and now he's hurt himself.
This just proves how professional Daniel Bryan is, because he even chooses to get injured at the opportune moment to push a storyline.
Well,
this is how dedicated he is to his job.
Let figure this in, is that, WWE had that moment where Daniel Bryan gets to have his shine.
Yeah.
At the Mania, the night after Mania. And, I really feel like they didn't have much of a plan going on after that.
Yeah.
For Daniel Bryan. This gives them, I think, a new direction to move Daniel Bryan in.
Yeah.
When he comes back from his neck surgery, guess what? We get to relive the WrestleMania moment all over again. And we get to have Daniel Bryan come in and go back for the belt. And, that gives a direction for Daniel Bryan when he comes back. Because, let's face it, they didn't have a direction for Daniel Bryan going post-Mania.
Yeah.
Here they finally have something. Now Bryan can go back for the belt.
Please put the belt on Seth Rollins for him to come back.
Here is my... I'm going to say that they're going to make this a year-long storyline, and he's finally going to win and keep the title at SummerSlam. He's been trying since SummerSlam of last year. He's going to finally win it this year at SummerSlam and keep it.
Let's do it.
Granted, we're only going to have a transitional champion in whoever wins at Money in the Bank.
That's why I don't want it
Disney.
to be Roman Reigns or Bray Wyatt, because I don't want them to be the transitional champion.
I agree.
One more
Back
off
to
the tangent indie bit. Going back to May, You Only Live Twice.
Oh boy.
Chikara's pay-per-view, and did they ever return in typical Chikara fashion? 3 trios matches. The trios match, the calling card of the Chikara show.
Yeah.
The trios match, the 4 versus 4, the 5 versus 5, that multi-man tag team match with the lucha tag rules. That is like where Chikara thrives. I mean, they do a whole weekend of just those matches.
So, you got King of Trios coming back. That's exactly what Chikara needed.
Absolutely.
Like, the only way they could have topped their return was announcing that they were going to do a King of Trios tournament.
Yeah, and, beyond a shadow of a doubt. And you had 3 great trios matches happen at You Only Live Twice.
Oh, absolutely.
Colony versus Colony Extreme Force. You had the BDK against, which was the return of Tursis, which I freaked out.
He lost his mind.
Yeah,
he yelled Tursis and it scared me.
Against the Spectral Envoy and the Sid Bodie in the Auditorium versus the Batiri. You had a great 4 corners tag team match. Pieces of Hate, the Kikido, the Throwbacks, and 3.0.
Yeah, that's right.
And then bringing in brand new characters to Chikara. Debuting Juan Francisco de Coronado and smooth sailing Ashley Remington.
Yeah, I'm still on the fence about that guy. I'm still
I
not
am
sure.
all for a guy who gives the people he beats gift baskets. But yeah, I mean, so much excitement for me on that day. The announcement that Mike Quackenbush, no longer an active competitor, is the new director of fun. For Chikara. The new guy who's going to book the matches, make everything awesome. And then there was a phenomenal singles match between Jimmy Jacobs and Archibald Peck. And to top it all off, the main event, the rematch, 1 year in the making, Eddie Kingston versus Icarus. So much drama, so much anticipation for that match. Icarus's new ring gear was awesome.
That is one of the coolest ring gear I've ever seen.
And Icarus winning the match, the rematch, 1 year in the making, when he was so close to winning the title match last year at Chikara's last show, prior to You Only Live Twice, the Anniversario Never Compromised, when they had that unfortunate shutdown storyline starting. And it was such that feel-good moment because Icarus was about to win, they cut that show down, and then Icarus gets his win, gets the title win, albeit with a concussion.
Yeah, granted, that was one thing about
the match.
You only live twice. So we had that talk where it was awesome to see the return of Chikara, but it almost felt like people were going too hard.
Yeah.
Trying to make such a big impact that parts of the show seemed to lack that regular Chikara intensity, but didn't take away from the show.
Yeah.
The show itself was great.
The show was amazing. Especially Green Ant debuting his new Silver Ant gear.
Now Silver Ant. And a Sail Ant now becoming Worker Ant
too. We also got a quick, very brief appearance from Kid Cyclone, Creator Wrestler 2, and Equinox 3.
Ah, yes. Yeah, the new kids on the block.
Yeah, which I'm excited to see what they do in the future.
Yeah.
My only complaint about where Chikara is right now is, please bring back Tim Donst.
More iPay-per-views.
Yeah, more. He wants more iPay-per-views.
More iPay-per-views. Tim Donst, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Jakob Hammermeyer.
Yeah. Oh God, don't get me started. Don't get me started on Jakob, team. Yes. So I mean, besides the fact that Icarus got a concussion, we have to now focus on the moments following You Only Live Twice.
Yeah, and here's the thing about the moments following You Only Live Twice. We watched it on iPay-per-view.
And we stopped watching after it went off the air.
Like, the beginning of the iPay-per-view, there was a long break of just black. Yeah. So I figured once it went off from Icarus versus Eddie Kingston, once Icarus had his celebration, it went off. It was just black. We turned it off.
Yeah.
We find out the next day.
There was stuff that happened.
So, set the stage. You've got all the Technicos in there congratulating Icarus on his win. You've got the Chikara roster celebrating their return, and then you have the Flood.
The Flood. The Rudo stable to end all Rudo stables in Chikara. I mean, you're talking every member of Sidney Bacabella's Wrecking Crew, Dr. Cube with his cronies Hack and Slash,
Gekido,
the Gekido members, the Colony Extreme Force,
all led by Jimmy Jacobs.
All led by Jimmy Jacobs, an unlikely leader in my mind.
The Zombie Princess.
And you have this moment, all the Technicals are out there, and here come the Rudo team, the Flood, and you ensue this big brawl, not unlike the one at the end of National Pro Wrestling Day 2.
Yes, very similar.
And then you get this disturbing image of this huge guy in this futuristic, post-apocalyptic looking outfit, and he hits the ring, and he's got Soldier Ant and Delirious with him.
Yeah.
They appear to be hostages. For the longest time, he was only being referred to as the Titan of Tidor. But when he removes the mask from Soldier Ant and Delirious, Soldier Ant and Delirious attack their former stablemates, Ultramanus Black and the Colony, respectively. And you have this huge mass brawl ensuing. The Titan is standing by himself in the ring, and the most unlikely of all the Technicos, the Goblin Prince, Cobalt, comes in, and being the smallest Technico,
the smallest
facing this guy who's being called the Titan.
Yeah. Oh man.
And he attempts to fight the Titan. He attempts to spear the Titan, and he bounces off of him.
Yeah, the Titan doesn't move. Legitimately, Titan, Cobalt, bam. Cobalt's down.
And then he grabs Cobalt by the throat, picks him up over his shoulder, and drops him spine first against his own knee, effectively, as we know it to this day, ending Cobalt, ending the Prince of the Goblins, ending the Demon's Toilet.
That was like almost, it tugged at the heartstrings because you had the Flood gather back once this happened. because the Technicos hit the ring. As soon as Cobalt went down, the Technicos jumped back in to try and protect him. The Titan gets out, the Flood backs up, and you see Kodama. I legitimately felt bad for Kodama. Because he is wailing and screaming over the fact that Cobalt has just been destroyed.
Yeah, and Obarian and Kodama, people who you see thrive on the viciousness and the hurting people and the anger, and to see them have that emotional breakdown moment, and as the entire Technico roster, almost in a ceremonial way, carries Cobalt out of the arena.
Yeah, and
who doesn't move.
Yeah.
After this, does not move a muscle, doesn't even seem to breathe. Scary. And the day after You Only Live Twice, the materia announcing that Cobalt is gone.
Yeah. Hashtag vengeance for Cobalt. Since that show, the materia have done nothing but let the Flood know that they're coming for them.
The flood waters are rising,
and your
and
waters will run red. That was it. Was short. It was sweet. Check out Chikara Office on YouTube. Check out that promo. I mean, the Batiri who don't usually do
any kind of promos.
Usually, Cobalt was their mouthpiece.
Yeah.
But they finally get that time where they talk, and you get that distinction that they are out for blood, and they're gonna get it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for the booked match, the Colony and the Batiri, 5 against 5 Flood members.
Yeah.
I feel bad for whoever those 5 Flood members are.
Because not only are you going against the Colony, but you have the pissed off Batiri coming after you. That's not going to be a good
Those
situation.
Those are 2 short, scary, angry demons that you don't want.
Going in and teaming with 3 giant ants.
Yeah, this is a weird combo, but scary at the same time.
Ants and demons terrify me.
not to mention small demons and giant ants.
Yes.
They should ride the ants in the ring.
Got some other indie...
The one other big indie event that happened is the yearly Best of the Super Juniors tournament. The double bracket round robin tournament that turns into a single elimination 4-person tournament. This year, sadly, because of an injury sustained in his final round robin match, Alex Shelley had to pull out.
Which seems to happen fairly often in Super Juniors.
Well, they take so many risks in the Super Juniors tournaments because it's their style.
Yeah, it's Japan, things get crazy.
So Alex Shelley was supposed to be there, and I think because he was out, Kushida got to take his place. We ended up having Ricochet. Ricochet, after beating Johnny Gargano in April for the Open the Freedom Gate Championship, gets to take home the Best of the Super Juniors tournament win. And this is a big deal because, I no American gimmick guy has ever won, to my knowledge. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I've done research on this, but I could be wrong. Has ever won Best of the Super Juniors tournament. And putting him on that list, that list of such high caliber people, as a guy who was, for years has been called one of the best high flyers and best workers in Japan. Kota Ibushi has won. Prince Devitt, who recently got signed by WWE. Milano Collection AT. Tiger Mask 4 won it. Koji Kanemoto's won. Pegasus Kid, who's Chris Benoit. Black Tiger 2, who was Eddie Guerrero. Both of these guys have won the tournament. Jushin Liger's won it 3 times. I mean, that's Jushin freaking Liger. And for him to be able to add his name to a list of variable legends in the wrestling, not just mainstream wrestling, but overseas and all over the world. These guys are known. And for him to be the first, person representing America to go over do it, big step. And just to do it in general, no matter who you are, that's such a huge deal. To win the Best of the Super Juniors. It's something that is, it's a great honor to have this win to have this title of the best of the Super Juniors to be bestowed upon you. And no more deserving of a human being than Ricochet to get this year a standout year for you. Ricochet,
So,
congratulations on your
Yeah.
Open the Freedom Gate Championship win. Congratulations on winning the best of the Super Juniors. Awesome job. That's it for indie events
Okay.
that have happened. The last note I want to hit on in the indies is something that I plan on doing for each one of our shows, or maybe as a once a month thing, so I don't bug them too much. But I am connected to a lot of indie wrestlers on Facebook and on Twitter, and I like to send out a questionnaire to them that I'll be doing for as often as I can without feeling like I'm being overbearing. Is asking a question, and then interesting little questions that you guys would probably be interested in, and getting their answers to report back to you. Something I can do with the help of social media. And the question I asked for this show is, what, in your opinion, is the worst mistake a promoter could make? So one of the first responses I got was from Tim Donst. Former Chikara wrestler, known as the Mat Wrestling Machine. Tim Donst says promoters often will book for themselves rather than the fans. Promoters, and this is the thing, I could see if I was a promoter, I might be at fault for doing such a thing, but creating your own dream match. Booking a match that you want to see, even if maybe it's not exactly what the fans want. Cobalt. I asked this question prior to You Only Live Twice happening.
Hashtag vengeance for Cobalt.
And his response was not marketing to the right audience. He was referring to shows that he's been on where, advertisement as family-friendly shows, bringing your kids, and then having something kind of racy or edgy go on that might not be considered family-friendly.
That's the best way to lose fans like that.
Versus a show where you're saying, this is going to be the most intense, action-packed, violent show that you'll ever see, and then the whole show's just kind of lackluster or just all pure wrestling or goofy stuff that's happening. Not marketing to the right audience.
False advertising.
Having way too much kiddie action going on in a show where you're like, this is going to be awesome, versus, having some edgy, risque kind of things happen when you're saying, this is a family-friendly show, bring your kids, come on down.
And none of these things are necessarily a problem. Having a kiddie show isn't a problem. Having an extremely violent show isn't a problem. But it is when you're putting it for the wrong people.
Darren Corbin.
Love Darren Corbin.
Darren Corbin is awesome.
Love AC/DC.
And fellow Ginger. His answer was
Seen a ginger fellow.
Absolutely. Not enough advertising, says Darren Corbin. And I find this to be true. I find this where I'm friends with a lot of other indie wrestlers on Facebook, and I follow a lot of indie promotions on Facebook, and I get a lot of things where I see an advertisement for a show, but I only see it pop up the day before the show happens. Or I go around town, like in Portland, we have a couple indie promotions, and I see very, very little advertisement for the indie promotions. The only people who I see promoting the indie promotions are the wrestlers.
Yeah.
And it's not the wrestler's job to promote the promotion. The wrestlers bring you to the promotion. The promoters, what's the name of the promoter?
Yeah.
The promoter needs to promote.
Yeah, you
advertise.
You can't have that title and not do what your job entails.
Absolutely. So not enough advertising. Come on, guys. Get newspaper slots. Get little cable access commercials.
Post flyers in as many places as you possibly can.
Get your Facebook event invites out as soon as you know a show's going to happen. I don't care if you don't even know a single match that's been booked. Think about this. Chikara's event that happened today in Chicago sold out before it happened. Sold out without a single match being announced.
Strictly because Chikara has been promoted. Chikara is well known, and they know how to do their job.
Yeah. So, come on, guys. this is the reason why I feel like a lot of indie promotions from towns anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, aren't on that same level of Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, Chikara, AAW, AIW, CZW, because they're not being promoted right. And I feel like any promotion with the right talent, while being promoted right, could seem like a super awesome show.
Yeah.
You know, there's guys in promotions I've never heard of that I want to see. I don't know who you are yet, but I want to see them. And on that note, starting the next episode, when we're doing our little weekly recaps, I'm going to be plugging a lot of indie shows. So, you know, if you come from some town and you guys have your own indie show and you want me to plug the indie show on this show, let me know in the comment section, and, you know, I'll post my email down on the little bar underneath when you click more info and it comes down.
Yeah, well,
Email me your promotion. Email me a match that's going to happen on your next show. I'll promote it. I will plug it.
Yeah.
I'll do that for free because I love wrestling.
Yeah. That's the one thing that we can all agree is that, you know, all these things are very true to us because we love wrestling.
Yeah.
We will watch any kind of wrestling if it's entertaining.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
If it's promoted right.
Yeah. Next person who answered my question, the old-timey king of swing, Dasher Hatfield. Love the guy. Class A, grade A gentleman, 100% all the way. Awesome wrestler. His complaint was too many promos. And this is another thing you see in a lot of indie promotions that aren't as well known, is promos between every single match, or almost between every single match. And I think, you know, it draws the show out too long, and it kind of kills the momentum of going from one match to the next. If you have 5-10 minutes of talking between every match. You know, it's why an indie show can't run Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw, you know, you can do it. It's a TV show, it's awesome. But, you know, when you go to an indie show, I'm not paying to see Monday Night Raw.
No.
I'm not paying to see match, promo, vignette, match, promo, main event. I'm paying to see wrestling, maybe one or two promos thrown in
Yeah,
there.
promos that lead into matches, or promos that set up for matches at, like, the next show of the promotion.
Or if you have a really, really good talker, an undiscovered talent who's just great on the mic.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let
him go.
If you're trying to build a star, go ahead and throw a promo in there. But yeah, if you're going to an indie show, you are going for wrestling.
Yeah. Next up was Kodama of the Batiri. And I think he hit the nail on the head with WWE's biggest problem
Did you say
of...
Dale?
Huh?
Did you say Dale on the head?
My nose is kind of stuffed up. He hit the nail on the head. Kodama did. The WWE's problem that was spawned of Batista winning the Royal Rumble. Kodama's answer to what is the worst mistake a promoter can make is not listening to the fans.
But yeah, I mean, if you're watching this show, you're a fan of wrestling. You're a fan because you enjoy watching things. And obviously, you know, we touched on this earlier. We can't be selfish. We can't expect to get everything we want. But at least make it. But at least make an effort to understand that your fans don't want to see Batista versus Randy Orton. They want to see Daniel Bryan.
Absolutely.
They did that.
Yeah.
And TNA, this is specifically for you. You dropped the ball. Take the title off of Lashley.
Please.
I haven't even watched TNA in like 6 months. I'm
might
pissed off and don't want to watch it.
I might
anymore.
burn for saying this. These two might burn me alive on the
Yeah,
next show if I say this.
Send me $5
I've
to my
ne-
PayPal account.
$5 and a big lighter.
I've always liked Lashley. I haven't loved him, but I liked him. Not.
I you know, honest to God, I enjoyed Lashley's run in WWE.
Right, like, I didn't like him. I didn't think he was the next star. Or, I didn't love him, I didn't think he was the next star. But I liked him. I thought he was decent. He had the look. He had a weird voice that just sold me.
He wasn't great for promos, man. But, like, if you compare him to, like, a Brock Lesnar or a Batista, I felt like he could put on way more of an entertaining match than those guys could.
I'm in a glass case of emotion right now.
But
At least Brock Lesnar.
Oh, he's way better than Brock Lesnar.
But with that said,
better than Scott Steiner.
why give him the belt in TNA just because he's come back after a lukewarm run?
Sounds
a few
familiar.
Years ago?
Sounds
Yeah.
vaguely familiar.
Yeah.
Good job ripping off the shitty part of WWE TNA. Congratulations! At least WWE fixed their problem before they did it.
Okay.
Sorry.
And
Back to Indies.
yeah, the last guy, one of my all-time favorites.
I'm not as well versed in this guy though.
Billy Rock. A great wrestler who's been all over the place, and if you haven't seen this guy work,
Do it.
do it. Look him up. Look up. He does a Chikara match from, I don't know, sometime in the late 2000s, 2007, 2008 or something like that, I think it is, against Chuck Taylor. A brilliant match. Billy Rock, kind of an older school kind of guy, but still great and amazing to watch in the ring. Says too many matches on the card. Just the same way as too many promos. Because a lot of stuff in wrestling now, the matches are so intense and the crowd gets so into these matches, and if you have this super awesome main event booked, but then you have 9 other matches ahead of it, your crowd is going to be tired.
Yeah. You need to, if you're going to have the intensity in the matches, you don't need a lot of matches.
Yeah, I mean,
Because the crowd, if you have 5 really good matches, your crowd isn't going to be mad at you for only having 5 matches because you gave them a show.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that kind of being said, that I feel like that happens a lot on WWE pay-per-views. That by the end of the show, because say match 1 and match 3 and match 4 were all really good matches that the crowd were so into that by match 7 the crowd's kind of tired. So all in all, don't book too many matches because you don't want to wear your audience out before the main event. I think the main event is supposed to be the payoff.
That's why it's called the main event.
Yeah, the main event is supposed to be your draw. Don't pull the show out so long that your fans lose interest in what brought them there in the first place. If I book AJ Styles versus Chris Hero in the main event of my show, yeah, right?
Sign it up. I'm going to be there.
But I put 9 matches in front of that. Most of the people will have to leave before that because the show's taking so long.
Yeah.
So, all in all, don't book too many matches. Don't fill your show with promos. And for God's sake, please advertise.
Advertise.
We want to know. There could be a company that I have no clue who they are running 3 streets away from me, but because they don't advertise, I don't know. If you are, comment section below. But please advertise.
Hell, just put snippets of your matches on YouTube.
That could work wonders.
Because that's how I learned. Isn't that pretty much how we learned about Chikara?
That is absolutely how I learned about Chikara. Some people posted little 2-3 minute clips of like the Colony versus Fist.
I still remember my first introduction to Chikara. It was
the grenade.
No, actually it was damn pause button. The Colony was coming out, their music paused, and they paused with their music.
Brilliant.
They stuck to their guns, they waited for the music came back on, and they marched to the ring like nothing happened.
Yeah, it was pretty fun to watch, awesome to watch. I think my first one that I shared with everybody because it was hilarious, and, not really a great display of what Chikara is, but Tim Donst getting his head kicked off by Brody Lee.
God, we destroyed Tim Donst.
Which was frequently to say in the early years of Tim Donst. But,
yeah.
So all those things, man. Listen, because these are words of advice that I just received from the indie wrestlers who are getting booked themselves. What they think is wrong, what they think that the promoters could do better. So if there's any promoters watching this, hey, take advice, word out of the wrestler's mouth themselves. These guys have been around for a long time. Some of them not so much, but a lot of experience being garnered by a lot of these guys. The other thing that I want to talk about, other than doing this question and answer with the wrestlers that I'm going to be trying to do, is I'm going to be doing an Indie Star Spotlight. Starting next episode, where I'm going to say, like, hey, here's this one guy that I've been watching, And I think you guys, if you don't already know about this guy, you guys will think this guy's great too, because I think he's great. And you'll find out what I think he's great. I'm going to try and get a quick little in-depth interview with these guys, what got them started, what they love to do, where they're going to be, where they hope to be in the future, blah, blah, blah. Hopefully they talk to me. Who knows? They might not. And
you might just get more information from us if we know who he's talking about.
Yeah.
But so the Indie Star Spotlight that I'm going to try and do should be a fun thing. And maybe if we can, I'll include a 30-second snippet of one of their matches. Just so you get a taste. And, if you have suggestions of who you'd want to see in the Indie Star Spotlight, let me know. Send me the email, put it on the comments, whatever. I mean, I've got a couple picked out already, so, but keep sending them and let me know what you think. Let me know if you're a fan of these guys. Let me know if you knew them before I posted it. All this great stuff. I'm here to share the knowledge of good wrestling with everyone out here. This is what we're doing. This is our message. Wrestling can be awesome.
We've talked about a lot of important stuff that have happened over the last 6 months of 2014. We talked about CM Punk. We talked about The Shield. We talked about The Undertaker. We talked about the Wyatts. Probably one of the biggest things, if not the biggest thing that's happened this year, is the death of the Ultimate Warrior.
Yes. And, not to have it overshadow the Hall of Fame induction of the Ultimate Warrior and his moment at WrestleMania and his moment on Monday Night Raw. A guy who kind of got trash thrown on him by the WWE for a couple of years.
That's pretty cool.
With the whole Self-Destruction of the Ultimate Warrior DVD that they put out, and then basically not mentioning him for years and years and years, to finally have that moment of, hey, WWE wants to redeem themselves, let's have Ultimate Warrior have his moment, and for that to happen 24 hours after that whole weekend of Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah. It was bizarre. It was, we spent 72 hours watching this man do things that a lot of people didn't think he was going to do.
Yeah.
We didn't think he'd be in the Hall of Fame. We didn't think we'd ever see him at WrestleMania again. We sure as hell didn't think we'd see an Ultimate Warrior promo on Raw.
I mean, last time Ultimate Warrior was on Monday Night Raw was post WrestleMania 12.
That's saying something.
Yeah.
So in 18 years, this guy comes back, has probably the greatest 3 days of his life. He gets to experience it with his daughters and his wife. He gets to experience it with all of his fans, some new fans, and then to it was almost in a dark way. It was probably the best way for him to go out.
Yeah, absolutely.
He got all of his redemption done, and it was almost like that's what he needed, and that was it.
Yeah, it's one of those moments that a lot of people have in life where I could die happy now. I'm fulfilled. And he did. And whether it was by some sort of higher power, whatever you believe in, it's fine, or just sheer luck, it was the perfect way to end such a storied life.
Yeah, it was, for me, since I didn't start watching wrestling until the year of 99, so the Ultimate Warrior had been done with wrestling for, what, a year or two at that point?
Around a year or so after his finishing up with WCW.
Yeah, so I myself, I didn't know who the Ultimate Warrior was. I didn't know what the Ultimate Warrior was about. And to see him get to do all those things, it made me an Ultimate Warrior fan.
Absolutely.
And again, we talked about the Daniel Bryan thing they did. WWE did a great week. They did Warrior Week. Once they learned that he passed.
I know.
So yeah, obviously, a lot of great things have happened this year. A lot of really sad things. Losing the Ultimate Warrior. We saw the ending of the streak. It's been an interesting year in wrestling, and honestly, we're trying to give you as much information as we can get between the three of us. An even better way to stay up to date with the world of wrestling is through podcasts.
The Art of Wrestling podcast.
Okay. The Art of Wrestling, Colt Cabana's podcast, been around for what, 3 years now?
About 3 years.
3 years. It's for indie wrestling fans,
and it's for fans of. I more so say it's for fans of stories.
Yeah.
If you like to hear about people's weird or cool or tragic life experiences, this is an awesome podcast for you.
Absolutely.
Because you get hit with stories every week from people from way different walks of life.
Yeah, and just to name a few, you get indie stars like AJ Styles, you get Chris Hero, and you get one of the biggest names he talked about, Ricochet.
Absolutely.
All of these people have been on the podcast, and not only that, but not only do you get today's stars, but you get stars like most recently he's had Bushwhacker Luke,
He's had
Rip Rogers, he's had Bruno Sammartino on his podcast. Colt Cabana does podcasts with all walks of wrestling life.
You have ever been prominent, if you've been friends with Colt Cabana,
Yeah.
ever, you probably end up on this podcast.
Great segue there. He's also had Stone Cold Steve Austin on his podcast.
And great twist into that story, Stone Cold has also had Colt Cabana on his podcast.
So, and the thing about the Steve Austin Show, you can find this on podcast1.com. You can also download it on iTunes. All of these podcasts are available on iTunes. But the Steve Austin Show is good for all walks of life. It's good for wrestling fans. It's good for UFC fans. It's good for fans of music. It's good for fans of random shit.
Could have worded it way funny.
The Steve Austin Show literally has something for everyone. As far as wrestling fan goes, there are podcasts with Paul Heyman, John Cena, and Eric Bischoff. So you get some of the
boo, yay, boo.
So you get the John Cena one was actually pretty good.
I believe it. Cena's a great guy.
He went to Raw a few months ago, and he talked to, in succession, he's got 3 different podcasts. He talked to Zeb Coulter, he talked to John Cena, and he talked to The Big Show. At WrestleMania, he got to talk to Paul Heyman. He got to talk to Lita. He has like a 3-parter with Eric Bischoff. Aside from wrestling fans, UFC fans, you can hear podcasts from Stephan Bonner, Chael Sonnen, and Josh Barnett. You got some top UFC stars that talk to Stone Cold. Most recently, he hasn't done a lot of the UFC stars or like music stars. He's done for music stars. He's done podcasts with the Los Lonely Boys.
Nice.
He's great friends with the Los Lonely Boys. So you get different things. Most recently, he's done Just Incredible. He's got very different things that happen, and you get a lot of random. If there is ever a time where random shit is funny, it's when it comes out of the mouth of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Another really good podcast that's on Podcast One is Talk Is Jericho. Obviously, hosted by the great Chris Jericho, former star of WCW, ECW, WWE, and
my personal favorite person in the world.
He loves Chris Jericho. Not only that, not only is he a great wrestling star, but we all like Fozzy. And because Jericho is so prominent in not only the world of wrestling but the world of music, you get if you're going for the wrestling fans, you can get Cesaro, you can get Rey Mysterio, where he talks about not only the death of Eddie Guerrero but the death of Chris Benoit, which is, to hear from the point of view of Rey Mysterio, is a very interesting journey.
A guy who's was very close to both Eddie and Chris.
Yeah, exactly. And you can get a most recent, I think it was just after WrestleMania, you get a podcast with Daniel Bryan, the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion at the time. And most recently, he did a podcast with the recently released Drew McIntyre. And Drew McIntyre talks about, how he got the news, how he handled the news of his release. I haven't listened to that one yet, but I'm sure if it's like the rest of Talk is Jericho podcast. It's going to be a good one.
Please take me out.
So, like I said, not only is he big in the world of wrestling, but he's big in the world of music. You get M. Shadows from Avenged Sevenfold. You get Zach Wilde, the guitarist and lead frontman of Black Label Society, the guitarist for Ozzy, and you get one of the biggest rock stars, part of the Big Four, lead frontman of Megadeth, Dave Mustaine. All really good podcasts. Like I said, you can find Talk is Jericho and the Steve Austin Show at podcast1.com. Also, 2 podcasts that I haven't got a chance to check out there, 2 more wrestling podcasts. The Ross Report by good old JR, and Piper's Pit. Roddy Piper now is a podcast.
Piper's Pit's fairly new.
I haven't checked these out.
I am kind of excited to see what happens because we all know Piper's kind of a loose cannon.
Yeah, I haven't got a chance to check those ones out yet, but I'm definitely interested to see.
We'll have Dean Ambrose on.
That would be so much insanity.
Also, another thing on the side note, if you haven't watched it, Legends House, if you don't have the WWE Network.
Speaking of Roddy Piper.
If you don't have the WWE Network, get the WWE Network to watch Legends House.
If you don't
strictly for Legends House.
Shit's funny.
If you can't get the WWE Network because you're out of the United States, move to the United States and get the
our next couple episodes will obviously just be the week of wrestling, maybe a few little side things. If you've got ideas, stuff that you want to see us talk about, stuff you want us to discuss, leave it down in the comments section. We'll be posting our Facebook pages. We'll be posting our Twitters. If you want to get at us, let us know what you think. Give us feedback on how you feel we did on the show.
poorly.
Be respectful, because I don't want to have to ban people when we just started a show.
We respond way better to constructive criticism than negative feedback.
Also, I take things really personally.
And don't comment first. That's stupid. I will delete you.
I take that most personally.
Yeah, if you're first, I don't give a fuck.
Sorry, if you comment first, you're wrong. Because we put up the video and we've been commenting all day.
Yeah,
that's true.
We commented first.
We commented for 4 fucking hours.
You have no idea how much we've commented on this video.
We commented first, second, and third in no particular order. So you guys are all tied for fourth and below.
Yeah.
But we do appreciate creative criticism, constructive criticism. Creative criticism?
Creative criticism.
Creative criticism and constructive criticism are both
creative, constructive criticism. I mean, if you want to draw your criticism in multiple Crayola colors,
do it.
Do it. And want to make an appearance on our show?
That might be difficult.
This is a direct message to Bryce Remsburg.
Okay.
Yes. You did. You spoke to Bryce Remsburg.
If you want to make an appearance on our video,
and Dasher Hatfield, right? Didn't Dasher say that?
Maybe I don't remember now.
No, I had a dream that Dasher Hatfield was a guest on. Yeah. Craziest. I'm gonna leave this in. Craziest thing. I had a dream when we were talking about getting the show started that we were setting up the show and my doorbell rang and I opened the door and there was a bright heavenly light and it went and it was Dasher Hatfield and he was a guest on FTW, which it was awesome.
That'd be a great thing. Maybe if you guys like what we're doing, and we can get so popular that we could have a dude or chick from the wrestling world come be a guest on our show,
more than welcome. Fantasy Warfare.
Something we're gonna also be doing along with all our weekly segments. Fantasy Warfare.
This shouldn't be in this segment because we've been going too long anyway. But Fantasy Warfare, what the hell? We're all wearing the shirts. Comment, discuss, talk about what you think would happen and who do you think would win a triple threat match. And
don't go with whoever's booked to win. That's not as creative of a response as you think. It's really not.
Nobody's booked to win. You can't book someone to win this match because Eddie Guerrero is dead.
But that's the
my hopes.
We could have a match, but
that's the go-to comment in these things. Oh, whoever they decide should win is going to win. No, fuck that. Don't say that. Be creative.
You're not a fan. You're the booker.
Yeah.
You get to pick who wins.
Yeah. And why?
Fantasy Warfare, Johnny Gargano versus Daniel Bryan versus Eddie Guerrero.
For the WWE World Heavyweight Championship.
So thanks so much for watching FTW Fans Talk Wrestling. I'm Travis Colt. This is Kevin Hawk. This is Thomas Wolf. We will see you all next week. and we hope you enjoyed the show.